Good morning, friends. Today we are going to learn semester 4th partition literature for optional English of BA second year. First of all, I would like to introduce you the syllabus of partition literature for semester 4th. Before introduction of the syllabus, you must know what are the objectives of the syllabus and how you are going to learn it and achieve those objectives by learning those parts of the syllabus or the general topics and the short stories in the syllabus. Objectives of the syllabus. What are the objectives of the syllabus that you are going to achieve after learning this particular syllabus for semester 4th for optional English, especially the paper of partition literature? First of all, it is very necessary create an awareness of the partition scenario among the students. It is prescribed for you the partition literature syllabus or the particular paper of partition literature. That is, you must be aware about the partition of India and Pakistan. What is the condition? What are the conditions at that time, and how common people suffered due to the partition, and what is the impact of the partition till date. Next objective, to explain the hidden human dimensions of the partition to the students. What are the hidden dimensions of the partition? That is, what is the effect of partition on human and the common people of India and Pakistan? When we learn about the hidden human dimensions of partition, that is about the particular part of human life, how it is affected. Third objective, to elaborate on the impact of partition on society. To elaborate, what is the impact of partition on society? Society of India, society of Pakistan after partition. What are the conditions, political and social conditions? In the last semester, you learn about partition literature, its effects, its background, and now you are going to learn the next part of it. And in the last semester, you learn about Train to Pakistan, the novel by Kushwant Singh, which is one of the best novel of partition literature, and it shows the effect of partition on common people, on the villages near the borders of India and Pakistan. And these are the now we are going to learn the next part of it, that is how impact of partition on women, home and exile, and next part the particular stories, Toba Tek Singh, The Final Solution, Defend Yourself Against Me, A Leaf in the Storm, some history about the particular partition literature. First module is about impact of partition on women. Here, before talking about the literary works of about the partition, I would like to tell you about the movies on the partition and how it affected. If you see the particular scenes or particular movies about the partition, you will come to know how it is affected to the women. That is, first example I would like to give about movie Pinzer. The main cast Urmila Martondkar, and when we see that movie or when we see the particular scenes from that movie, we come to know how partition affected the life of women. The particular woman, Rajjo, how he how she is affected due to the partition. The Punjabi man caught her and went to his home and he made her a Muslim. Made her no, that is the man from the Muslim community bring that particular woman to his house and his family made her Muslim, and after that we can understand how the particular movie shows the impact on women of partition. Next example I would like to give about the famous movie Gadar. You might know that movie and will understand, or if you watch that movie you will come to understand about the particular conditions of the partition and the how it affects to the women. The character of Amisha Patel. And next example, when we learn about particular example from the last semester book, the Train to Pakistan, the women from that particular novel, how they affected due to the partition. And one more example of Bapsi Sidhwa's Ice Candy Man. In that movie also, the Hindu woman seduced by the Muslim man and how it affects to the women in that particular novel. And if we see the adaptation of that book in the movie The Earth 1947, the major cast Amir Khan and Nandita Das. See, in next part we'll learn about home and exile, module number 2. That is how people become homeless due to the partition. In this particular part, we learn about that man is a born nomad. If we accept that the Neanderthal man, born and brought up in Africa, the cradle of civilization, soon moved out of the cradle in search of food and shelter. We are at the point when the nomadic Jains started working. Millions of years passed when he spread till over the earth, settled, marked his territories, and developed the art and the means to defend and retain it, if possible, expand it. If he could not see eye to eye with some members of his clan, he fought with them, either threw them out of his boundaries or checked out himself in search of new lands. The process of leaving one's home and getting into exile started, and till date it has not stopped. It will not stop, for the nomadic genes and are immortal. See, here is the this is the paragraph from your prescribed book, that is uh, book of Partition Literature for semester 4th, edited by Dr. Shirish Chindra. When we learn about home and exile, those are the contradictory terms, and we learn about, that is, home is where one has one's roots, where one legitimately, culturally, and emotionally belongs, while exile is a state of getting rejected, being banished from one's own home, people, land, culture, and such roots. This is shown in the partition, and we learn about it in this particular general topic of home and exile. Next is about module 3rd, short stories. Short stories of Toba Tek Singh by Sadat Hassan Manto. If you learn about Sadat Hassan Manto, who is also went to Pakistan and settled his life there, but he is not happy with that life, and we learn how he is also suffered due to the partition. His personal experiences might be described in this particular book. That is, here we learn about it, that Toba Tek Singh is a character who lived in the particular jail, that is asylum, and he can't bear that exile from his home. In this particular part of Toba Tek Singh, how he don't want to go to Lahore after the partition, and he never know how it is going to happen, but he don't want to leave that place. In this particular story, we can understand that Toba Tek Singh is a character who is a real hero of the partition literature. If we read the particular novel, a particular short story, we can understand how it is affected the life of that particular Toba Tek Singh. Till there is a village of Toba Tek Singh on the border of Pakistan and India. If you search on internet, you will come to know about the village Toba Tek Singh, and it is the place where Toba Tek Singh died due to his uh, condition, psychological condition. See, the next story, the final solution. In this particular part, we learn, that is the story by Manik Bandopadhyay. We have the different portrait of the woman of the post-partition times. Malika with her ailing husband, emaciated child, and old sister-in-law, lands at a railway station in a city in Punjab as a refugee family. Hunger and fatigue have already half killed them. They are looking for help and food. A man called Pramatha, representing Help and Welfare Society for the Refugees, eludes Malika with promises to feed and even provide shelter and some job. At his apartment, when Malika understands his true intentions of raping her, she kills him and escapes. On returning to the railway platform, she tells her sister in law, I will go to the railway station every evening in my frayed sari. The sharks will come again to pick me up for sure, but this time I will be carrying a knife with me. You understand? This is the circumstances at that time. Circumstances convert people into unusual person, making them making them behave unpredictably. In such a case, norms, ethics, and humanity take a back seat and the beast emerges. It is, however, difficult to tell what is right and what is not. In such unusual situations, adversity teaches survival games. Malika has learned such a game, although it is only a personal, illegal solution, not reliable every time. The partition has taught her this game, though it is not really a final solution. It is only a temporary, on the spot solution. See, this is about the story of the woman who survived in the conditions of the partition. Next story is about defend against yourself. Defend yourself against me, Bapsi Sidwa. That is about a woman of a respectable family in Pakistan who was abducted and raped by certain Sikh hooligans during the partition Holocaust. Set in Houston in the US, the Christian narrator, who is a writer, one Mrs. Jacob chances to meet an old childhood friend, Mr. Khan, a Muslim from Lahore. It is a family party where Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs have gathered. Old days are remembered, and so are the old scars of the partition, too. And the talk turns to Khan's old mother, Ammiji, who is also present. There is a horrid story behind her, the one who was abducted and raped by certain Sikh hooligans during the partition Holocaust. By a queer coincidence, the two sons of the Sikh proprietors, named Khushwant Singh and Pratap Singh, are also invited to the dinner party. They appear in the party as fakirs, fall portrait at the entrance door, shouting, Maji, Maji, forgive us. This is, of course, addressed to Ammiji. After a natural outburst of anger on the part of Ammiji herself, she says in a flat, emotionless voice, My sons, I forgave your fathers long ago. Yes, Ammiji has survived the massacre, has been accepted into her family, and has mentally got over the whole ugly experience, never uttering a single syllable of anger and sorrow or hatred about the past. The past is dead and buried in a silence now for her and her family. This is about the story of a family who suffered in the partition. Next story, A Leaf in the Storm. It is story by Lalithambika Antharjanam. Antharjanam. It is about the particularly character of Jyoti in a courageous savior of a kind, and in it the particular character shows us how the particular family also suffered, a woman suffered from the because of the partition. In it, we can understand each story presents the suffering of human beings, women in that particular stories. When we learn about the particular theme of the leaf in the storm, we come to know about the suffering of a woman, that is Jyoti in the refugee camp is an unmarried girl who has become pregnant from rape committed on her during the partition riots. This is a stigma on the character of a young girl as it will stick to her for life if the child survives. In that case, she cannot lead a normal life as a woman. The society looks upon such women as tainted, fallen ones, so her life is in ruins. At times, she has the strong desire to abort the unborn child and get rid of the stigma. She suffers a heart-rending mental conflict. However, finally she decides to save the child, even accept it and help it live. One theme that clearly emerges here is the triumph of life over death. Both the forces are very strong in human life, and there is an unending struggle between the two. However, in most cases, the forces of life emerge triumphed. Life cannot be sniffed off so casually, so indifferently, and so inhumanly. It is also possible to read the story as the infinite and fearless love of mother for her child. A mother is a giver of life, not a destroyer of it. Jyoti embraces the child as a mother out of pure love and compassion. At that particular moment, she is a strong person who has no fear of social stigma. A woman is not a weakling as the world thinks about her. She it is who gives and protects life at any cost. Her courage and love in doing so is matchless, proving her to be a strong person. Here we learn of different themes through these particular short stories. Not only the conditions of partition of India and Pakistan, but at the same time, we learn the theme of human values, human life, and the suffering of woman is also the major theme in this particular short stories. Here, in this through these short stories, we learn about the particular lives of the women. So, this is the syllabus for your semester 4th, and in the next part, we will learn about the particular general topic, that is the first part, uh, impact of partition on women. Now we will stop here. Thank you.